you out to Detroit?
You know, we're in Detroit. It's a great African American community, so I think the UFC wanted me to come out and talk to the kids.
Really?
No, Detroit's it's considered the Midwest. That's part of the reason we got an opportunity to go and talk to some kids today in martial arts. I went there to talk to them, you know, try to inspire them with some words of wisdom, being from a similar environment. Me and Kevin Lee, we actually left there and we were inspired, and just by the discipline, and there's still good people out there that respect martial arts, and they still are teaching them the discipline, the life skills, the respect, the honor, the reason why I got into the sport. So at one point of my career, I just felt like it was lost. I felt like it was all entertainment, and you know, I really stopped liking it, not even liking fighting at all. So it was just refreshing to see that, and people utilize martial arts to teach those life lessons. So.
You said that jokingly, but is that something the UFC has asked you to do to sort of help with outreach to, you know?
I mean, they don't have to ask me to do that. That's something I want to do. I would be offended if they wouldn't utilize me if there's an opportunity that presents itself. So that's something I do. I don't go around and just do it for the cameras, but I've spoken to over 200 schools before. You know, so that's just something that I choose to do myself because I think it's important to try to use your platform for something positive.
What's the latest with you? When are we going to see you back in the cage? Have you kind of mapped that out yet and talked with the UFC while you've been here this week?
You know, I was trying to be in the cage December 30th, and you know, that didn't pan out for me. So, you know, right now I'm considering doing the surgery again. I actually scheduled it, and today I'm like, you know, I don't think I want to do it. I feel strong. I feel good. I think the game needs me right now. I don't want to be away from it, and you know, I'm highly considering going a different route.
Explain, Tyron, what exactly happened with you and Nate in that fight?
Well, I was offered to fight against Nate. Nate was offered to fight against me. Nate wanted more money. I think Nate didn't really want to fight. It's like me saying, you know, would I fight Alex Overeem? He said, yeah, I'll fight him for $30 million. I think he threw out such a ridiculous number that he knew he wasn't going to be compensated for it, so he didn't have to say he said no to the fight. So do I blame him for wanting to get paid more? You can't come off of fighting 2 fights with Conor McGregor, making a certain type of money, and then go back to fighting a tougher matchup, a bigger guy, a true welterweight, and make a fraction of it.
Does it bother you in the fact that you started at the end and, you know, lo and behold, it didn't even end up happening?
No, I mean, I didn't start a campaign. I said, let's go. Like, you can't have a mantra, don't be scared of homie, and a fight's presented to you, and then you're scared of homie. That's my whole thing, that you got a lot of guys in mixed martial arts that want to be known as fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. It's really a sport, but more importantly, it's a profession. You should take strategic fights that make sense to get you to the title. Once you're the champion, at that point, now let's take fights that either going to line your pockets up or fights that are going to put you in a position where you can snap your place in history and become a legend. So many guys that say that are not really about that. You know, Bisping could have fought me. Why would George St-Pierre come and fight in a different weight class instead of fighting me in my weight class? And everybody retract these statements, but Bisping said he didn't want to fight. It was never a fight on the table for us. But me and him went to go talk to Dana White together about a fight, and there's video out there on it. You know, Conor McGregor could fight me if he wanted to. George St-Pierre declined to fight against me, and it's just hilarious that I was at one point a guy that was said to be picking and choosing fights. But damn, I'm picking the toughest fights, right? Yeah. I'm picking a fight with Johnny Hendricks, Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler. I'm picking the most challenging fights because I know if I beat these guys, then I become legendary.
Is the St-Pierre fight the one you covered the most?
That's the fight I've always wanted since I got in the sport. He's been the king. I can't even sit here in front of you and act like he's not the greatest welterweight of all time. And I have the belt right now. Does George need to fight me? No. He's done what he needed to do. He's been through the specialists. He's been through the freestyle fighters. He's been through the fighters that are the wrestlers with heavy hands. He's done that. He's coming back in the sport because he built the blueprint for the pay-per-view. We started seeing it take off. The sport started really catching fire. Now he want to come back and participate in some of those points. He don't have nothing to prove, and I'm not the guy he want to fight right now because, you know, I just in my head I just really feel like people have a short-term memory. They forget that I got 11 finishes, 9 in the first round. The way that I got to the top, you know, I didn't get to the top by bumping my gums and wearing a really pimped out custom suit. I did it the old school way, and a lot of people have lost heart on what it takes to get to the top.
You feel confident enough you can finish, George? That come along with Sam?
Of course.
George released a statement today saying that he's got colitis and.
What is colitis?
I don't
exactly.
It's like a colon issue, I think.
Do you have questions about what it means?
I don't have questions what it means, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have the condition that he has, but was he even scheduled to fight? I think it's a method in which he's going to buy some extra time. What does a Robert Whittaker fight does for his career? Nothing. Young, spunky, hungry fighter that's going to come after George with everything he got. How does that help him? He's not going to make nearly the amount of pay-per-view he did in Bisping. And I haven't seen the numbers yet, but I don't think Bisping and GSP did the numbers they thought it would do. So I think he's smart. I think he doesn't have to take that risk once again. He's already done what he needs to do. And I really don't think he wants to reign over a division and defend the title for all these guys coming back to back to back. He wants to fight fights that are important to him. And I don't blame him, man. I can't. Last week I came to grips. I may never fight George St-Pierre, and I'm okay with that.
So are you ready to move on from that fight?
I'm ready to move on for that fight, for sure. You know, if it presents itself, as I always say, and I feel that would be the most important fight to me because I do feel like he's the greatest welterweight of all time. But if I continue to beat and defeat everybody they put in front of me, it's only a matter of time before I take that title.
What about Colby Covington? He's been talking a lot.
You said that you're rethinking the surgery now.
Yeah.
When do you think that you'll make a final decision as to
Well, I'm scheduled right now for December 19th, so I don't have too long. You know, I was actually scheduled before in November to get the surgery. But then the Nate Diaz conversation, I postponed the surgery. So for all you people that don't think it's a fight, I don't know about you guys, but I'm busy and I'm working every week. I'm on a plane twice a week, and I would have never rescheduled my surgery and pushed myself back 3 to 4 weeks had it not been a fight on the table. So it was December 7th, and I started doing the math. I'm going to be working in Winnipeg. Do I want to get the surgery and fly out there? So I decided right when I get from Winnipeg, I'm flying to Pensacola, Florida. I'm having Dr. Andrews perform the surgery. He's nationally known for this type of deal. I'm going to spend 3 or 4 days there. They're going to come check on me every day, rehab twice a day, and then I'm going to fly home for the holidays. So right now, that's the tentative plan. But I just been praying over it, giving it some different thought, and man, I really don't feel like I need to do it. Me and Duke was in there hitting pads, working on technique and stuff yesterday. Man, I feel like a beast. So I'm gonna pray over it. We'll see in the next week or so. I would say 7 days or so.
If you do get it,
Will they pay for my surgery? Yeah, they pay for my surgery.
If you do get it, what's the recovery period?
I don't need. I could do a full reconstruction, but that's what we call 6 to 8 months, and I just can't sit around that long. Not even fighting, man. Fighting ain't even the thing I do the most of. Like I do so many other things, whether it's investing, entrepreneur things, speaking to kids, all these different things that are in business that has nothing to do with fighting. I just don't want to be still for that long. It's not in my nature. So the surgery that I'm getting is they're going to clean out. The issue was when I tore my labrum, pieces of my labrum are in between. I don't know whatever the ball and joint is. So if I get to certain areas, it starts to click and pop, and it might get uncomfortable and catch in that area. So the doctor said, at very least, I need to clean that out and take those pieces out so it doesn't catch. And while I'm in there, I might as well tack down the parts that I see that are missing. Inject stem cell on the way out, inject PRP on the way out, expedite your recovery. So that's what I'm looking at, and hopefully, from what I hear, is 3 to 4 months.
Tyron, you said this all day this week, delusional day now. I was wondering if he responded to you.
He didn't. I mean, he know that. You know what? Let me choose my words wisely. Because you know what I get in the doghouse, I get out the doghouse, I get back in the doghouse. Right now, I don't know where I'm at. I thought I was in good graces, but how do I say this? He has not responded to me, no. And I think it's a reason why he has not responded.
Do you plan on talking with you?
I'm going to go say what's up to him, yeah. Why wouldn't I? I'm going to give him the handshake, pat on the back. What's up, boss?
One of your friends, Ben Askren, recently retired. Do you see him staying in retirement, or do you see him coming out and potentially fighting?
Man, I don't know. I think if I went up to 185, he would 100%. I've talked to him.
Yeah.
I don't have to guess. He's a good friend of mine. So if I went up to 185, before George started having whatever the condition he had, I considered making a move up to 185 and fighting at that weight class, giving up my belt at welterweight and fighting him for the middleweight title and staying at middleweight. In that situation, then Ben would try to come over to the UFC. To be honest, man, Ben is a hard matchup for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
He don't get the credit he deserves, especially when he was at the top. Carlos Condit, he wouldn't have had a chance against him. I don't think George would have beat him. I don't think all the guys that just so happen to be at the top, he is a nightmare matchup for him. He gives me hell on earth every single time I train with him. And he just is one of the most underrated fighters and one of the most creative minds when it comes down to fighting and just game plan and strategy and ability to actually teach that or actually apply that into his sport. He would by far definitely, I think he would have been a world champion for sure in the UFC.
You talk about wanting to be the greatest welterweight of all time and fighting George St-Pierre to establish that, but you also kind of mentioned going up to 185. Would you do that to kind of assert yourself on the pound-for-pound great all-time list?
I'm not. The rankings are the rankings right now. I really don't agree with them at times. I got to a point where I say 3, 4, 2, 1. I don't care. I want to be letter C. Once you letter C, I don't care what everybody else is ranked. They can argue and fight that through. But I'm the champion of the world, so I'm not too worried about it. And pound for pound, to be honest, my goal is not really to be pound for pound the best fighter in the world. That's DJ's spot right now. If George gets his act together, John gets his act together, I think him and DJ will be fighting for that position for a very long time. My goal is to be the greatest welterweight that's ever fought in the octagon, and I think it's the toughest division. So if I'm that's my goal. And if so happen that I just continue and I rattle off 10, 7, 11, defenses in different weight classes, and I so happen to be it, but it's not something I'm really thinking about. I'm not going up to middleweight because I think that'll boost me on the pound for pound. I want to fight George, and he's not fighting me in my weight, so I'll come up and see you there. And I do think there's some guys I can compete with in the middleweight division. I'm going to be so much faster. I don't think I'm giving up that much power in the punching. Guys like Chris Weidman, Jacare, Luke Rockhold, brothers got some size on me. I have to be real creative, but in reality, I think I'm a competitor, and I will find a way to do what I need to do.
How do you approach this? Because you talk about maybe going up to middleweight, staying in welter. You seem like kind of.
You guys know how much I weigh? I weigh 205 pounds. I'm not a lightweight. I'm just a professional that makes weight when he's supposed to. But I've never walked around less than 195, 200 pounds. So, I'm not a puny welterweight that just walks around close to his fighting weight and just jumps on the scale. Like, I got to work, especially when I fight in the wintertime.
I'm saying mentally, like, having an opponent and deciding what weight class you're going to go at. You seem kind of
I'm a fighter, man. You know how many fights I've been in? I've been in 20, 30 fights before I even fought amateur. Fighting doesn't bother me. It doesn't scare me. My only fear really is not competing, not putting it all out there, not underperforming. That's really the concern I have. I never walk out there I've been hit so hard. I've been knocked out. I've been beaten. I've lost fights I thought I won. There's nothing new that's going to happen to me in the octagon that really provides that anxiety.
Are you assuming
Last question, guys.
Law or RDA? That's the winner of that
I'm not
sport?
assuming anything. This sport's crazy. This game changes so quickly. I've been in 4 number 1 contendership fights and I only lost 1. And I'm telling you, none of those fights put me in the world title picture. So I'm open to any fight, anything that makes sense for me. But right now, I'm not putting myself in a box and said these are my next guys. Who else is doing that? What other division besides my division is forced to actually compete against a number 1 contender? That's forced to say you have to fight this guy. Nobody else is in that position. So with that said, I'm just keeping my options open. But no, I'm not against fighting either of those guys.
Does that give you kind of peace of mind, knowing that you got guys that are trying to pitch to you as opposed to trying to move up the?
I'm good. I mean, to be honest, guys, I'm in a really good spot right now mentally, and I just feel like I'm the best in my division. I feel like, not to be arrogant, not to be cocky, my toughest matchups are behind me. The gorillas and the killers and the guys that me and my coach picked out, these are the toughest guys for me to fight. We've beaten those guys. So now it's time to continue to increase as a martial artist, get better, and I want to do this. I want to start creating distance between me and the rest of the welterweights. You look at DJ, it's DJ and everybody else, right? That's what I thrive to do in my division.